serious?
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Okay.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel, and thank you for clicking on the video. For the two Valkyrie mains out there, I apologize for making you wait for this video. I was doing other things. But seriously, Valkyrie is not a good frame. She is not a good frame at all. If you're on the fence about getting her, farming her, if you're a relatively new player, don't get her. I'm going to be completely open and honest. If you don't have the time to waste, the MR, the Platinum, any of that, don't bother. She is not very good. She is not worth your time. I am making this video specifically because you guys voted for it. And even though that intro was real flashy with the red crits and all this and destroying the acolytes, Valkyrie as a whole is not good, and she needs a rework desperately. The number one thing you hear about her is that she is a relic of the past. It is a very common phrase, and that is because it's true. Her kit is old, out of date. There's a lot of things wrong with some of the multipliers and just what the abilities do in general. Her augments are not very good either. Some of them I'm going to talk about, I'd rather see them incorporated in her kit as a whole. Her passive basically doesn't exist. So we're going to talk about Valkyrie. I'm going to show you how to do this build. If you like what I have to say and you like that intro, consider leaving a like. And if you don't, and you're a Valkyrie main and you think I'm wrong, comment below. Let's get started. Let's talk about Valkyrie's kit real quick. Number one, her passive. It's garbage. For a Warframe that's expected to be in an invincible state all the time thanks to her 4th skill, why would you need faster knockdown if you're invincible? Number two, Rip Line. We have bullet jumps for a reason. This is like the worst quote-unquote grouping ability. It's also a way to, you know, maneuver around, I suppose, like as you see there. It's just not good at all. You can give yourself parkour velocity and go much further than that. Warcry. Now, this is actually a decent skill, however, you cannot recast it. So if your allies are not within the range, you have to wait for the full duration to recast it. It's really stupid. However, the armor, speed, increase, and decrease are somewhat nice. I will say that. But other than that, the casting issues is a problem. Paralysis. This is a nothing burger ability. This absolutely does nothing without its augment. The damage multiplier, I mean, you're multiplying 10 by whatever, like 3.5. It's still nothing. So it does no damage. You sacrifice shields to do nothing. It needs, that ability is just bad. Okay, Hysteria. Basically her only good skill. Makes you invincible and you run around meleeing things. It's got some reworks in the past. It did some different things. They changed it a few times. It's okay. But I mean, you can do far better damage with some of the other incarnate melees like you saw in the intro, which is kind of why I don't use this very much and why I slapped the Hysteria augment on it. So let's talk about the build. So for my Valkyrie build, we have Skill Charge. It's basically the only real aura you can slap in there. You'll notice that I also have 3 augments. Eternal War is a good augment, but if you are with your allies and you cast this and start getting melee kills, you will never be able to recast it again unless you let the duration completely drain. So your allies will not be able to benefit from the armor increase or speed increase at all unless they are originally within the range of the skill. So why that hasn't been adjusted after how many updates to this game, I have no idea. Valkyrie is a very old Warframe. Prolonged Paralysis. As I said earlier, I believe that this augment should be incorporated into the skill on its own, because without it, this skill does nothing. It is a nothing skill. It does nothing at all. The knockback is nothing. The stagger is whatever. And the damage multiplier is like multiplying 0 by 1,000,000. It's nothing. It does nothing. However, thanks to this augment, Valkyrie somewhat has a grouping ability, which isn't very bad, and it can set up enemies to finishers. And there's some unique little interactions with the entropy detonation and a Jack Kastag augment. I've saw some videos floating around about that. You could do goofy things like that, but like I said, Valkyrie is not a great Warframe, and at that point you're just forcing her to be good. Enraged. Now, I put this augment on here just because I don't want to just sit in Hysteria all day and, you know, play Valkyrie like that. That is extremely boring. Like, you are invincible and you're doing decent damage. That is extremely boring. So Hysteria Enraged augment is pretty cool. Now, the damage increase and crit chance are not flexible. They don't scale off anything. They're a flat value, but you can adjust the duration. However, like it says at the bottom text, it will receive a matching cooldown depending on how long it is. So if you're in there for 30 seconds, you can't use Hysteria again for 30 seconds, which a lot of Valkyrie players or players in general might say that sounds horrible. However, the damage and crit chance increase is really, really good against acolytes. So you could use other things in your kit, other melee weapons, while you wait for the acolyte to come out, and then you just do like 4 or 5 slide attacks and they're dead instantly, like you saw in the intro. Very, very good. Now, normally you wouldn't run any range on Valkyrie because a lot of people will just run like Nourish or something, and then as they're running around meleeing, the enemies that hit them will take the Nourish debuff. And then nobody uses Paralysis, and then Warcry, you would just use it for yourself or whatever. And then Hysteria doesn't scale off range at all, pretty much. So, but like I said, I am using the Prolonged Paralysis, so that's why I do have some range, because I am kind of using it as a grouping ability. Like I said, I'm trying to make Valkyrie work here and trying to make a build that plays outside of just her 4th skill. However, we are kind of staying true to the identity of her being a melee frame, which is why we have Arcane Reaper, which is a really, really good augment. It's relatively new. When you get a melee kill, you get a ton of armor and some health regen. Now, it's only rank 3, but if you get to rank 5, it goes to 660 armor and 24 health regen per second for 10 seconds. So, pretty solid. Valkyrie already has a ton of armor, so if you add those two values, you're basically getting the full value of Umbral Fiber, but inside of Arcane Reaper at max rank, which is pretty good. So, other than that, again, we don't have invincibility very long for Hysteria, which is why we are running Adaptation. But the health regen is really nice, which means we don't really need Rolling Guard. Depending on what your companion is and what your melee is, you should be able to CC the enemies enough to where you shouldn't be experiencing too many status effects. And then, of course, we have a little bit of duration, some more strength, just so we can reach the threshold of Terrify for 100% armor strip. And then Arcane Blessing is just another way to increase our EHP thanks to the extra armor we get from Arcane Reaper and the fact that her health is pretty decent. Without the Arcane, it would only be about 370, but with it you have 1570, so pretty decent health pool. Now my melee of choice is the Dual Ichor. This is an Incarnate weapon currently, and what I like about it is during its Incarnate form it will create Toxin Clouds that will apply the Toxin debuff to enemies, and it's sort of a soft CC. It's really nice too thanks to Valkyrie having Terrify on there, so the Toxin damage is going straight to their health, and it does pretty decent damage. The other evolutions I'm using is gain additional combo when they are affected by that Toxin. It doesn't have to be the Toxin Clouds. If you wanted to just leave it as pure Toxin, you could do that as well. It does work with Alchemist's Wrath. And then we have extra range. And then finally, a massive increase to status chance. These are the things I'm going with. Now, I do have a Riven in here. I actually just got this today. I rolled it myself. It's really good. I have a whopping 8.2 range. Absolutely insane. If you don't have a Riven, just throw Quickening in here. This is going to help a lot. You still get about 6 range, and your attack speed is going to be nice, and you're increasing your combo chance even quicker. So you should pretty much always be at times 12, and your stats will look like this. I think you can still hit red crits. If not, you can maybe even put in primed, or what is it, Arcane Avenger in here if you want, so that you can always hit red crits. But if you don't have a Riven, I would just throw in Quickening or a preference mod, whatever you want. And then depending on if you have a primer or a specific companion that's applying a ton of debuffs, maybe you don't want Prime Pressure Point and you want Condition Overload instead. Now for my companion, I am using one of the Hounds. If you're curious about the configuration, these are the parts I am using. And for the build, we have just your standard Hound sort of kit, especially with the new bond mods. Now, I do have Reinforced Bond. This isn't helping me at all, but I use this companion on other Warframes, which is why this mod is here. But if you're looking to get the same sort of look, these are the mods I'm using. Right, Manifold Bond is really, really good because we're applying a lot of statuses, which is going to reduce the cooldown of this Hound specific attack, which is sending the Magnetic Pulse, which will disarm enemies and just kind of CC them a little bit. And then you CC them even further with the Synergize Prospectus mod as well. More statuses, so like I said, Condition Overload can help your damage increase a lot depending on what your companion is. We have Prime Pack Leader. We're doing tons of melee, so why not throw this in here? It's not even maxed. But obviously with Overguard, you're going to be preventing your companion from taking status effects, which will allow them to stay on the move, do these little skills, sending out the CC things, and just helping you as a melee Warframe, which is really nice. For the attack, we have just a Radiation Toxin. I didn't even fill out the last slot. It doesn't matter. All you need is to make sure you have a decent status. Now, depending on the faction, you already have Viral or Corrosive, whatever melee you're running, right? But I have Radiation in here just because it's really, really good against the Corrupted. And I did go into that Conjunction Survival, which has a lot of Corrupted in it. Now for Valkyr's Talons, we do have just your standard slash and viral. Remember, we are getting a big bump in crit chance thanks to the Hysteria augment. One of the unique sort of mods in here is actually Carnus Mandible. We have extra slash and status. I mean, the status is pretty low, so you're honestly not going to see too many viral procs, but we do want to scale the slash up a little higher than some of the other ones, because as you see, without it, everything's even. I mean, it's weighted by 0.1 more, which is stupid. So throw this in here and your slash will be scaling twice as much, almost. It's at 90%, so almost twice as much. So that way, because slash is king, you won't be seeing impact or puncture procs, which are almost worthless. But yeah, that's the build. I wish I was a little bit more excited about making this build, but unfortunately Valkyrie is very one-dimensional, very boring in my opinion. For those who enjoy her, I understand and totally respect why you would enjoy a frame like that, but it's just not for me, despite her having some pretty decent fashion, which we are going to end the video with, showing off my fashion. But if you're new here and you like this type of content, or if you want to check out some of my other videos, go ahead and subscribe. I have plenty of other Warframe content that I am excited to talk about. But if you like this video, consider leaving a like. I appreciate everybody who watches my videos. We've been growing pretty steadily over the last couple months. And if you're excited about the new Whisper in the Walls update, like I am, stick around and check out my other content and get excited for that, because I will be covering all of that when it launches at some point this December. So once again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.